What's up, everyone? We are here on Maul launch day. It is finally time after months and months of prep and theory crafting. We will be going over everything on Twitch, testing teams Lord Vader and not. I'm actually pretty excited for some possible interesting Mando Maul theory crafting that I haven't really seen floating around the community yet. So we'll be happy to be kicking that off here. And well, if you're seeing this, it's probably right about now. This is an interesting time for the game, and this is a very interesting character overall, right? There is a lot of weird stats, especially if you're taking him the Lord Vader route. You know, you've got protection to health conversion, you've got health to offense conversion, you've got health in the lead, offense in the unique. There's a whole lot of spots where the stats are just weird, right? Especially when you have a move that keeps increasing its own damage, that offense ratio is going up. But at the same time, you start off with high anguish, a high health to offense conversion with a low damage output. And as the damage output goes up, the conversion goes down, which leads to some really weird build dynamics, right? The modding situation for Maul is very, very strange. Now, I did go through the hard part. I went through and made a calculator just to get a good idea of what Maul actually looks like under the hood, right? You know, when we're making these choices of what mods should we give him, what kind of stands out as being best. So, all you really need to look at here is down here, the green signifies what is best in slot. All we're really looking at is damage increases. So of course, we're having offense compete against protection and health. Obviously, if you take protection and health, you're getting more survivability as well as damage, so the value is certainly higher. The problem with suggesting a Maul build, in my opinion right now, is I'm just gonna take it assume that Maul and Lord Vader are going to be together on defense. And as a defense team, you don't really want to decide how to mod a team until you know what's actively going to be trying to kill it, right? I don't think it's just going to be JMK Cat flying around everywhere. You know, we do have the calculator showing kind of a target Maul speed to work with. This is not a difficult character to get to a minimum if you're just trying to outrace Cat using that speed up. I don't think it's that simple, and I really don't think, you know, it's going to be JMK Cat versus Lord Vader, right? There are going to be other teams that can take Lord Vader down, and this speed consideration just isn't going to matter for those teams, right? So I think my goal for this video today is to inform you the most. You can make your own decision, whether it's today or, you know, we wait to see how the meta shakes out in a few days. There's also questions of how does Maul AI work? If you fought him in Conquest, sometimes he would do, if we're just talking Anguish, he would go 5-4-3 and then reset to 5. Or sometimes he would just dump 5-4-3-2-1-0. And when you do the full dump, that's where the most damage output happens. In a Lord Vader team, I'm assuming he will be programmed to behave differently. And the question becomes, what's he doing, right? If he's not doing a full dump, then the damage build has a lot less appeal. I would say looking more into speed and bulk at that point to keep him moving. Offense set is doubling your damage output here at trade-off of you're losing about 14k health after the lead. So that is a decently significant change. And of course, if we bump it up to Relic 9, that becomes even more significant. So really, when you're choosing your set, if you're looking for combat stats, what you're really asking is, am I looking for more bulk or a little bit more damage push, right? The damage increase from double health set is not bad, but it's not amazing, right? With the primaries, I think, even though you can see offense is the highest here, the gap between protection and offense is so low. I think pretty much every single time you're looking for protection primaries, even so far as if you have a fast protection primary arrow, absolutely go for it. Strongly recommend that. And depending on what set it is, right, that could also kind of inform what your Maul will look like. I think looking at your mod collection and seeing what you have available is really going to determine what style of Maul you end up going for as well. Along those lines, speaking of looking for what you have for him, secondaries is a very straightforward scenario overall. Surprise, surprise, the percent stats are by far the best scaling. Offense is the clear winner here, right? You know, as you have this C-thing ratio get up to, you know, 300%, you are making huge uses of offense, and the protection and percent health gains are really kind of fading out. So that's not to say that you should ignore the others, though. If we want the best Maul mods possible, I think you want to look for a decent amount of speed, a good amount of percent offense, but not necessarily ignoring the percent protection. You know, I'd say maybe like a 60-40. type of balance, and 3 to 4 protection primaries. If you are on a protection primary, of course, you can't have percent protection secondary. You can see on the right side here, offense is fairly ahead of flat protection damage-wise as well. Obviously, we can't like custom build our own mods, right? Ideally, I would say you want to reach for either of these. If you don't have either available, percent defense would probably be the way to go. Not every matchup that counter Maul is going to be worried about defense, but it's still going to be a more beneficial stat to add than, tenacity, right? So yeah, if we are looking at things in game, this is, I would say, what probably a good generic Maul looks like if we're going the offense set route. Kind of like I said, right? We're looking just for solid rolls on percent stats where possible. If you have an arrow that can try to sneak in that protection primary, by all means. But again, you're kind of just at the mercy of, I guess, trying to hit that minimum speed if we consider that to just be an arbitrary target. And yeah, just trying to grab as much offense, protection, bulk where possible. This is like an example of you could do a speculative slice on something like this. See if it picks up maybe enough speed to cover for its own slot, as well as some percent protection and percent offense. Yeah, these are fairly healthy rolls. This crit chance is pretty much a dead stat for this character, I would say. But yes, if we're looking for the generic damage package, I would say you can't really get much better than this. Now, it's fine to go a generic damage package, right? But I think Speed Maul could very much be a dark horse in this meta, depending on how the AI works and how the counters are trying to go for him, right? The idea behind this is that we not entirely dump offense, but it kind of takes a backseat position, right? We're mostly just trying to grab it in secondaries where possible, if we can. And instead, we're focusing on speed and bulk. What's this doing? This is giving Lord Vader a lot of ult charge, and this is helping him try to get back to a second anguish sooner, allowing Maul to play kind of a value, kind of a control role. You've got the offense down, you've got the cooldown increase that has a taunt ignore. I don't know that I see this being the way to go as a broad scale thing, but this is definitely a build that I'm keeping in mind day one with this testing to see how he behaves, and this could become the best way depending on how he behaves. Keep this in mind. Last but not least, if we're looking for just kind of like I don't want to say boring, but it's not flashy, we have the triple health set angle, which again, less damage, more survivability. You're trying to have your Maul and keep it 2. This is just an offense set here because I don't have a good health set version of this to show. If you don't have the good protection primary, go for a speed arrow. Certainly no issue there. And a speed arrow does give you some extra budget to try to make up for the missing protection or offense in the secondaries. No shame there. You work with what you got and you do the best with what you can. But yeah, exactly the same boat. Protection primaries, percent health, percent offense. Enough speed to foot the bill for, we have some 10s alongside some 20s. Really just trying to hit on that average. Now, last but not least, the question of, I don't have Lord Vader, what the heck is my Maul doing? Pretty simple, actually. Yeah, you're doing roughly the exact same thing. I do use a setup or Maul lead with Mandos that tries to make the most of Frenzy, so I don't think his speed is all too necessary here. I'm really just looking for a total offense dump. I would say maybe, he does boost his health on his lead. I would say maybe try to grab protection primary just as a general policy to resist percent health effects. But really, you're just looking for the percent offense or just any offense gains here, right? Offense primaries, 4 of them ideally. If you don't have a good arrow, don't sweat it, just go speed set. And yeah, if you got the offense primary, I don't have the best flat offense rolls, unfortunately, but that's really the focus here. I mean, any tank stats as well can't really be a bad thing, right? But if you're really trying to min max, you would want it to be something more along the lines of, think this, except not a speed set, right? Something like this. You work with what you got, right? Anyway, that's it. We will be live here on Twitch here shortly. If you're seeing this video, if it just launched, if it didn't, that VOD will be up, and we'll be chatting about it in the Discord. There's a lot of good stuff coming for the game, I think, and This is just beginning. I'm a little bit scared of how Lord Vader with Maul is going to feel in 3v3 as well. Honestly, it wasn't really in the plans to test 3v3, but I mean, that's kind of the immediate impact for us for GAC, right? We'll have to see. I'll see if I can get some 3v3 testing going as well. Anyway, get on out there. Happy hunting.